The martial soul hall will surely win, and Shrek will surely perish. Dongfang Yu unexpectedly traveled to the Douluo continent and was adopted by the martial soul hall since childhood. At the age of 6, he awakened his unexpected martial soul. The heavenly maiden beast. The story begins from here. Anti-factional writing, the protagonist is not considered a good person. Killed decisively, not in the harem. Keywords of the novel. Douluo. My martial soul is the heavenly maiden beast without a pop-up window. Douluo. My martial soul is the heavenly maiden beast. Download the complete text. Douluo. My martial soul is the heavenly maiden beast. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Awakening Martial Soul. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Awakening Martial Soul Hall, Elder's Residence. A 6-year-old boy got up from his bed, looked out of the window at the just glimmering sky, sighed slightly, and said, I hope my martial spirit awesome. The child's name is Dongfang Yu, and he is a member of the crossing army. At the beginning, after his parents sacrificed for nature, he became an orphan himself. This process is not a problem. Due to an accident, I was brought back to the Martial Soul Hall by the moon pass of the Martial Soul Hall. In a blink of an eye, for 6 years, my baby had also become a child. Today is the day of awakening the martial soul. Over the course of 6 years, Dongfang Yu tried countless times to awaken the golden finger, but each time he failed, which dealt a heavy blow to Dongfang Yu. Gone. Where are my golden fingers? Do you look down on me? After cursing for a while, Dongfang Yu turned into a bitter melon face and said, What should I do? If the awakened Wulin doesn't give awesome, he will probably end up on the streets tomorrow and become an orphan again. After all, the food in the Martial Soul Hall is not for free. In fact, it's not that I didn't want to go and join Tang San, but this matter is not easy either. Without a good martial soul, it's really not possible to gain benefits. Moreover, the Martial Soul Hall has a nurturing grace for itself, so it's not good to abandon it. After a moment, Dongfang Yu made up his mind that if his awakened martial soul was still good, he would spend a good time in the Martial Soul Hall. If not, he would have to improvise. Thinking of this, Dongfang Yu murmured 2 more words and said, I don't know what Bibidong looks like. If she were really a beautiful woman, it would be a pity to die. Immediately, he shook his head again, wondering what had to do with whether Bibidong was not beautiful or not. I can't eat or touch anything, and I don't have the ability to protect myself. Thinking too much is completely opposite to my dream of eating and waiting for death. Although the night is long, it is not eternal. Dawn has arrived. Martial Soul Hall, Awakening Hall. Yu Guan looked at Dongfang Yu and said, Xiao Yu, don't be nervous, relax your mindset. Dongfang Yu nodded and felt a slight tremble in his heart, saying, Uncle Yu, what if I awaken a useless martial soul? Yu Guan smiled and said, No, I believe you. Seeing that Yu Guan had full confidence in herself, Dongfang Yu's heart flashed with a hint of compassion. She knew the endings of various characters in Douluo continent, and of course, she also understood the fate of Yu Guan. If it weren't for the end of the month, he might have failed at the beginning. He has a life-saving kindness to himself. With knowledge of the plot, is it really good if he doesn't do anything? Perhaps I should remind him. In case he listens, he can save his life. Dongfang Yu thought to himself and made up his mind. After awakening his martial soul, if he really wants to leave the Martial Soul Hall, he should remind him before leaving. Martial Soul Scissors, Weapon Martial Soul, Soul Power 0, you don't have the qualification to become a Soul Master. Martial Soul Iron Sword, Weapon Martial Soul, Soul Power Level 3, Child, you have the qualification to become a Soul Master. Martial Soul Lamb, Beast Martial Soul, Soul Power Level 1, you have the qualification to become a Soul Master. Martial Soul Blue Silver Grass, Abandoned Martial Soul, Soul Power 0, you do not have the qualification to become a soul master. Seeing that only a few of the children in front of him could become soul masters, Dongfang became increasingly lacking in confidence. Soon, Dongfang arrived, but he hesitated a bit. Yu Guan comforted him, "Don't be afraid, go." Dongfang exhaled heavily and looked at Yu Guan, saying, "Uncle Yu. So. Did I go?" "Go ahead," Yueguan gave Dongfang an encouraging look. Dongfang gritted his teeth secretly, took a step forward, and quickly stood in the pattern of the 6-pointed stars. Soon, a blazing breath came from his body, as if something was about to come out. The person responsible for helping awaken the martial soul was a 4-ring soul sect named Louis. Seeing Dongfang constantly restraining himself, he couldn't help but say, "Child, relax, don't resist this power." Upon hearing this, Dongfang nodded and slowly relaxed throughout her body. Yueguan stood around and couldn't help but worry when he saw Dongfang's appearance. "Why haven't you awakened yet? Speaking late, then fast." Quickly, Dongfang let out a loud cry, startling everyone. "Ah!" I saw a golden light gushing out from the body of the eastern feather, and soon, it shone brightly. Some ordinary people around me couldn't open their eyes for a moment and this light shone, only the soul master could be spared. Quickly, a figure slowly formed behind Dongfang while Dongfang himself was sweating profusely and half kneeling on the ground. "Damn it! Awakening a martial soul takes half of my life." Dongfang cursed inwardly, but also secretly rejoiced, indicating that his martial soul should not be weak. 1 minute later, the martial soul finally condensed and the whole audience was dumbfounded. "I'll go. It's so beautiful. Is this a fairy? She looks like an angel. So beautiful." Yu Guan was also shocked. The child's martial soul was actually a humanoid martial soul. And compared to another humanoid martial soul, 6-winged angel, its momentum is only strong and not weak. Seeing everyone losing their composure, Dongfang was puzzled. What martial soul had he awakened? How come 1 or 2 are like idiots? Immediately, turn your head and take a look. I'm Nima. Tiannu Beast. Dongfang's pupils were almost bursting, but this could not conceal his inner shock. Not bad, it turns out that the awakened martial soul is the heavenly maiden beast. For those who don't know about Digimon, you can go to Baidu. A head of golden long hair fluttered behind her, and although she was wearing a mask, she did not cover the lower half of her face. Just looking at this sexy red lip, Dongfang admitted to being evil, and based on her experience as a human in 2 lifetimes, this heavenly goddess beast was definitely a royal sister face. Speaking of body shape, it can be said to be graceful, delicate like water, and with big long legs. A pink ribbon stands on top of the shoulders, paired with 3 pairs of pure white wings, making the temperament holy and sacred. Life is free from thoughts of blasphemy. Dongfang swallowed his saliva and said, "Isn't this just a dream? Xiaoyu, come and test your soul power." Yu Guan took out a crystal ball, but it was not the same color as the one in Louis's hand. Dongfang calmed his mind and wiped the non-existent saliva from the corner of his mouth, saying, "Okay, I'll come right away." After speaking, he walked up to Yueguan. Just as he was about to put down his hand to test, he saw Yueguan staring blankly behind him. "Damn it, won't it be straightened?" Dongfang guessed inwardly. The next moment, I placed my hand on the crystal ball. In an instant, the golden light inside the crystal ball was directly filled. Perhaps sensing something, Yu Guan withdrew her gaze and turned to the crystal ball in her hand. She was shocked and said, "This is a level 20 test crystal. You're going against the sky." Dongfang withdrew his hand, scratched his head and smiled shyly, saying, "Uncle Yu, do you think I still have a chance?" P.S. The first 3 chapters and some chapters have been modified. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. First Meeting of the Pope. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 2 First meeting of the Pope. Yu Guan did not answer Dongfang Yu, but looked around with a dignified expression, saying, "Stay here, no one is allowed to leave. Louis, keep an eye on these people." Louis also understood what was going on. He wanted to block the message and quickly replied, "I understand. Xiaoyu, let's go." Dongfang Yu saw Yu Guan pulling him away and asked, "Where are you going?" "Uncle Yu. See the Pope. The Papal Palace." Yu Guan and Dongfang Yu remained down to earth below, afraid to raise their heads. Dongfang Yu felt that the Pope's palace was too majestic and too cold. People who entered here couldn't help but feel nervous and solemn inside. Duh. Upon hearing the steady footsteps, Dongfang Yu became even more nervous. She wanted to see Bibidong on her own. "But I'm not ready yet." "Hey! Elder Chrysanthemum, didn't you go to the awakening hall? What's up with rushing to find this seat?" A beautiful and dignified female voice rang out from the stage. Yu Guan raised her head and said respectfully, "Under the Islamic crown, I have found a genius." "Genius? Isn't it the child next to you?" "Yes, under the crown," Yu Guan replied. "Are you a genius with soul power awakening levels 6 and 7 again?" the female voice on stage questioned. "No, this is a true genius." Yu Guan was a bit excited and immediately looked at Dongfang Yu, saying, "Xiaoyu, release your martial soul to show the Pope's crown." Dongfang Yu remained calm and didn't dare to raise his head, because the pressure he put on people was too great. He said, "Okay, Uncle Yu." Immediately, the heavenly maiden beast appeared again behind Dongfang Yu. For a moment, the papal palace also became bright. "Is this a six-winged angel?" No. The female voice on stage became somewhat incredulous. "Child, lift your head and tell me, what is your martial soul called?" Upon hearing this, Dongfang Yu slowly raised his head and a woman's face entered his sight. The woman on the stage was not tall, dressed in a luxurious black robe with gold patterns, wearing a 9-curved purple gold crown on her head, and holding a scepter about 2 meters long, inlaid with countless gemstones. Her fair skin and almost perfect appearance make her look so unique. Especially the intangible nobility and sacredness revealed on one's body can't help but evoke a feeling of reverence. When Dongfang Yu truly regained his senses, he realized that the Pope on stage was so stunning in beauty, noble, elegant, and tranquil, and all kinds of beautiful words seemed to be applicable to this woman. "Hui. Under the Islamic Emperor's crown, my martial soul is called Holy Heavenly Maiden." Although Dongfang Yu's heart was chaotic and excited, he did not lose his rationality, so he removed the last word of the Heavenly Maiden beast and added the word "holy" in front of him. Bibidong inwardly said, "The Holy Heavenly Maiden. This also fits this appearance, but I don't know what connection it has with the six-winged angel." Even Bibidong, as the Pope, had to admit that this martial soul was both beautiful and sacred, surpassing the six-winged angels. "But I hate this kind of smell. It can even be said to be disgusted. Since they are all angels, why not?" Bibidong sneered inwardly, as if he had some thoughts. "Moon Pass, how much soul power is this child?" Although there was speculation, Bibidong still asked. Yu Guan respectfully replied, "Under the crown, it's level 20. "Ha, indeed." Bibidong smiled and looked at Dongfang Yu. "Child, what's your name?" Dongfang Yu swallowed his saliva and said, "My name is Dongfang Yu, the Emperor of Islam. Are you willing to worship me as your teacher?" Although it was a tone of inquiry and discussion, there was a hint of something off-topic in the tone. Without hesitation, Dongfang Yu bowed very humbly and replied, "Disciple Dongfang Yu pays respects to the teacher." This speed, this decisiveness, made the Moon Pass, who was planning to urge him, couldn't help but be taken aback. "Good kid. Okay, then you will be my disciple from Bibidong in the future. Bibidong smiled with relief, but there was still a hint of indifference in the deepest part of his eyes. Upon returning to his residence, Dongfangyu lay down directly on the bed, patted his chest, and said, "It's so close." Just now, Dongfangyu could hear the outside sound of Bibidong's words. It was a killing intent. "I have no doubt that if I don't agree, my head will definitely land in the next second." What Bibidong has gone through and who he is, Dongfangyu is clear about it. She cannot possibly like her martial soul, and the decision to accept herself as a disciple must have other intentions. If she doesn't cooperate, what reason does she have to keep a martial soul she hates in the world? A love for talent. Perhaps it's okay to switch people, but my martial soul. She can never let herself go because of her love for talent, so only by agreeing to become her disciple can she survive. She's so beautiful. Dongfangyu murmured, looking back at Bibidong's appearance. She still felt stunning. It was definitely the most beautiful face she had ever seen in 2 generations. Due to the awakening of this martial soul, all of Dongfangyu's plans were disrupted. What is fishing in the martial soul hall and what is adapting to the situation? Everything will be ruined by Bibidong's words. What should I do? Dongfangyu frowned. If he left the martial soul hall without permission, he might have died before leaving the martial soul city. But it's not easy to live in the martial soul hall. There are only 2 paths left in front of Dongfangyu now. One is to leave the martial soul hall and find a place to hide for a lifetime, and the other is to seek refuge with Bibidong. Both are high risk. The former is highly likely to die as soon as one step out of the martial soul city, while the latter will die in the hands of Tang San in the future. Perhaps joining Bibidong. I'm not sure I'll die either, Dongfangyu thought. Although Bibidong is crazy, she's not stupid, she's also very shrewd. With the advantage of knowing the script and cooperating with the heavenly maiden beast martial soul, there is still some hope, but I am not confident in my heart. Gone. This is really bothering me. Can we have a cheat? Dongfangyu scratched his head in frustration. Half an hour later, thinking about it, Dongfangyu remembered Bibidong's face and his heart slowly calmed down. Soon, he murmured, "Tang San, I'm sorry, my buddy." Yes, Dongfangyu has made a decision. The option of escaping from the martial soul hall is definitely not feasible at the moment, as the latter has a glimmer of hope. It's not because Bibidong is beautiful, nor is it because he's afraid of death. I wanted to defeat the rebels just to comply with the heavenly way, all for the sake of the people of the world. Dongfangyu, without blushing or jumping, gave himself a legitimate reason. At the same time, Holy Soul Village. A black-haired child who was meditating with his eyes closed opened his eyes and felt a cold wind blowing from behind, as if it could penetrate all obstacles and reach his heart. Strange, how could one accidentally catch a cold after practicing Shantian Gong? Immediately, he closed his eyes and continued to meditate. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Awkward Meeting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Awkward Meeting. The Papal Palace. Bibidong looked at the moonlight below and said calmly, "You did a great job." "This is what my subordinates should do," Yueguan replied. "Tell me about this child." "Yes, this child is an orphan, and I accidentally saved him. Speaking of which, this is already his 6th year in the martial soul hall." Yueguan explained the origin of Dongfangyu and the process of awakening his martial soul. Bibidong nodded slightly and said, I understand. In a few days, you can take him to hunt for a soul ring. I will tell you what soul beast it is, and as for the other soul ring, it will be empty for now. Yueguan respectfully bowed and said, "Yes, under the crown. Also, please arrange his residence accordingly. Obey me. Insider, you should also handle it." "Yes." The next day, Dongfangyu woke up early, played a set of lightning 5 consecutive whips in the yard, and then sat on a chair to rest. Oh, by the way, I haven't taken a good look at my martial soul yet. Suddenly, Dongfang Yu smiled lewdly. Do whatever you say. After summoning the martial soul, Dongfang Yuqiang suppressed his excitement and looked at the heavenly maiden beast like this, saying, "It's truly a wife beast." No. No, it's the heavenly maiden beast. TSK TSK TSK, it's really beautiful. As she watched, Dongfang Yu walked up to the heavenly maiden beast and said to herself, "Her skin is really good, and her figure is also amazing. This leg." Dongfang Yu looked around with a guilty conscience and then breathed a sigh of relief. I shouldn't touch it too much, should I? At least it's also my own martial soul. Dongfang Yu smiled so hard that his mouth almost grinned to the root of his ear. If his martial soul couldn't even touch it, wouldn't it be very unreasonable? Just as his salty pig hands were placed on the celestial beast. Hey! What are you doing? A female voice interrupted his movements. Dongfang Yu stopped moving and turned around very stiffly. She saw a girl who was 11 or 12 years old, very good looking, with short orange hair and seductive eyes. You. Dongfang Yu awkwardly pulled out the 3-bedroom living room from his toes. Are you my junior brother? Helena frowned and asked in a very unpleasant tone. It looks pretty, why is it so dirty? Surprisingly, he didn't even let go of his own martial soul. This is simply embarrassing oneself and the teacher. Dongfang Yu put away his martial soul and awkwardly smiled, saying, hello, my name is Dongfang Yu. Hulaina said coldly, my name is Hulaina, and I am your senior sister. Hello senior sister, are you here to talk to me about anything? Dongfang Yu said, breaking away from the topic. Elder Ju has found you a new residence, and the teacher asked me to take you there and meet you, Hulaina said lightly, her first impression being very bad. Thank you, senior sister. Dongfang Yu smiled. Let's go. Looking at the mansion in front of him, Dongfang Yu couldn't help but sigh and say, it's so big. Helena didn't say anything, just walked into the house first, and Dongfang Yu followed closely behind. You'll live here from now on, Helena said calmly as she looked around. Thank you, senior sister. Dongfang Yu also kept looking around. Well, tomorrow Elder Chrysanthemum will take you to hunt for the soul ring. Prepare yourself. Okay, I got it. Let's go. After speaking, Helena left directly, and she didn't want to stay with Dongfang Yu. Watching Helena leave behind, Dongfang Yu opened his mouth and didn't say a word. It seems that his senior sister has a strong opinion of him. Don't come early or late. Well, you're not my dish anyway, just see what you see. Dongfang Yu roast. Although Helena is indeed very beautiful, as a person of 2 generations, she is actually in her 30s, probably only a few years younger than the Pope. In my own eyes, Helena is just a little girl, and I don't have that kind of habit, so naturally I don't have that kind of idea. If you want to like it, you have to like the Bibidong style. We are not much different in age, and she is beautiful and powerful. She can be considered a woman at the peak of Douluo continent. Can you not like her? Thinking about it, Dongfang Yu shook his head and decisively slapped himself, saying, it's really vulgar. No wonder I couldn't find a girlfriend in my previous life. If you want to become the Pope, you naturally have to put aside the sleazy behavior of hooligans. Otherwise, even if the Pope accepts you blindly, you won't be able to pass that hurdle in your heart. The reason is simple. Just like you are now, you don't deserve it. It's just that simple. Humph. One day I'll stand at that height, Dongfang Yu whispered to himself. The top-notch martial soul of the heavenly maiden beast is synonymous with strength, innate soul power, and 2 life memories. If it can't take off anymore, why don't you just find a piece of tofu and crash it to death? The next day. Sitting in the carriage with Yu Guan, Dongfang Yu asked, "Uncle Yu, where are you going?" Yu Guan smiled and said, "Go to the Starry Forest." "Isn't it going to the soul-hunting forest?" Dongfang Yu was a bit surprised. "Yes, although the soul beasts in the Starry Forest are wild, they have many types and better quality. The first soul ring of your martial soul should not be wasted in the soul-hunting forest," explained Yu Guan patiently. Dongfang Yu nodded slightly after listening. Indeed, human-raised soul beasts are not as wild as wild ones. Wild ones are more wild and have advantages and benefits that captive soul beasts do not have. "Well, I listen to Uncle Yu." "No, that's what the Pope's crown means. As for the other soul ring, it's empty for now, and the Pope's crown has its own arrangements," Yu Guan laughed. "Teacher." Dongfang Yu thought that Bibidong wouldn't even care about herself because she didn't really accept her as a disciple. "Yes, and besides, the Pope also told me what kind of soul beast you need, so our goal this time is very clear," said Yu Guan. "What kind of soul beast is it?" "Uncle Yu." Dongfang Yu asked curiously. "Colorful swans." "Ah." Dongfang Yu was taken aback, his first soul ring was a goose. Yu Guan gave Dongfang Yu a white glance and said, "Don't underestimate the rainbow swan, kid. It's a soul beast that suits you very well. The rainbow swan is a representative of the divine. With a single cry, 100 birds submit, and its attack power is also powerful. It is the supreme among flying soul beasts. How can it not be worthy of you?" Dongfang Yuxian smiled and said, "It's worth it, it's worth it." And he said, "How could his first soul ring be a goose? It turns out to be the king of goose, that's different. It just sounds very powerful." Feeling angry, he turned white again like Dongfang Yu, and only then did Yu Guan let him go. A few hours later, the Starry Forest arrived. Yu Guan alone led Dongfang Yu into the forest and explained, "There are many people and diverse eyes. As a disciple of the Pope, it's better to keep a low profile when going out to hunt soul rings." Dongfang Yu also understands this truth. After all, there are too many forces that do not deal with the martial soul hall, and Bibidong has other intentions for himself. Maybe even if he dies in the wilderness, no one will stand up for him. Well, I understand. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Colorful Swan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Colorful Swan. The forest is dimly lit, with tall and straight trees blocking out most of the sunlight. Only sparse and mottled light shines through the branches and leaves of the trees, making the forest particularly mysterious and eerie. The forest was filled with an elusive mist, yet surprisingly quiet, as if all living beings had never set foot in this place. Dongfang Yu moved with the moon pass in fear. He could not help roast. Is this the ghost forest or the star forest? Here we are. Moonlight stopped and said. Dongfang Yu looked at the environment and, it was very quiet and eerie, but isn't it really haunted? There's not even a bird's call here. Continuously making gloomy, whooshing sounds. Occasionally, a cold wind hits me, just like Nima shooting big movies. Uncle Yu, you can't remember the wrong place, can you? Dongfang Yu hesitated for a moment and asked. Of course not, that's right here, Yueguan replied confidently. Where is the goose? Dongfang Yu tugged at the corner of his mouth and asked, really not wanting to stay any longer. Goose. That's called a rainbow swan. Yueguan corrected seriously. Well, it's a bit difficult to find the rainbow swan. Although it's a century-old soul beast, it's not very common, murmured Yueguan, immediately lost in thought. Dongfang Yu took a cold breath fiercely. Emotions, are you not ready yet? Uncle Yu. Dongfang Yu exclaimed in a gloomy tone. Yueguan, who was thinking attentively, was startled and said, Kid, do you know that scaring people can scare people to death? Dongfang Yu was speechless in his heart and said, even the title Douluo is afraid of ghosts. Uncle Yu, I have a solution, maybe I can give it a try. Dongfang Yu looked very serious. Oh. Let's listen. Yu Guan became interested. Just find a toad. Yu Guan asked in confusion, the toad. What does this have to do with finding the colorful swan? Yes, does the toad want to eat swan meat? Maybe the toad has a way to help us, Dongfang Yu said seriously. Yu Guan became angry for a moment, this kid, dared to make such a joke on himself. An hour later, as the sky was getting dark, the two of them, not to mention the colorful swans, didn't even see the shadow of a toad. Yu Guan frowned and pondered, it shouldn't be. Dongfang Yu shook his head helplessly and said, let me figure out a solution. He could see that although Yu Guan is a genius in cultivation, he still has to rely on himself for this mental task. Colorful swan. Although it is a swan, it is still a goose in the end. What do geese like? Or what are the natural enemies of geese and what are they afraid of? Dongfang Yu was lost in thought, and many animals flashed through his mind. He couldn't think of a good solution for a moment. Ah! Dongfang Yu suddenly shouted. Yu Guan suppressed her anger and put her outstretched hand behind her back, asking, what's wrong? I thought of how to lure out the colorful swan. Dongfang Yu narrowed his eyes and smiled slightly. Yu Guan looked at Dongfang Yu in confusion, hoping for his answer. Although the rainbow swan is a swan, the supreme flying spirit beast, it is still a goose in the end. What do geese like? Or what animal is afraid of geese? Dongfang Yu sold a trick, and soon saw that Yu Guan had already taken out a dagger from behind, and then immediately answered. Cough cough. That's why we say we should read more books. Of course, snakes are afraid of geese. Yu Guan calmly put away the dagger and curiously asked, snake. Does this work? Dongfang Yu said earnestly, of course, when I saw Uncle Yu, he didn't read well. There are two main reasons why snakes are afraid of geese. The first reason is that geese feces contain substances that make them afraid. If snakes accidentally stick to their bodies, they will rot, infect bacteria and viruses, and eventually die slowly. Therefore, snakes are afraid of geese excrement. The second reason is that geese have a strong attacking ability, with long necks, making it difficult for snakes to attack geese. They cannot bite geese necks, and geese can also use their hard mouths to attack snakes. Hearing Dongfang Yu say a lot with a crackling sound, the corner of the moon's mouth twitched and said, where did you see that? What bacteria? How come I don't know? Dongfang Yu was taken aback and almost forgot that there is no animal encyclopedia in this world. As for the Soul Beast Encyclopedia, I don't know if it's written or not, and I haven't read it myself. Cough cough, I also heard someone say this by chance. Give it a try, it's better than being a headless fly, right? After pondering for a while, Yu Guan said, your proposal is also acceptable. Let's give it a try. Uncle Yu, remember to catch a snake with a cultivation of 300 years. It's too strong for it to fight, but too weak for it to look up to. Dongfang Yu thought it was better to remind him. Got it, can you teach me how to do things? Yu Guan said angrily before leaving here. Dongfang Yu sighed slightly and said helplessly, speaking under the title Douluo is just tough. After waiting for more than 10 minutes, Yu Guan returned, holding a half-dead snake in his hand. Dongfang Yu glanced at its pattern and guessed, Sidewinder, around 270 years of cultivation. Yu Guan nodded slightly and said, you have good eyesight, kid. Well, this rattlesnake is just right. Subsequently, the two of them arranged for a while and then hid in the grass, quietly waiting for the prey to take the bait. Half an hour later, night had already fallen, and the night was as quiet as a pool of water. It seemed that all living beings had already fallen asleep, and everything seemed so peaceful. The moon gradually rose, and she was dressed in a white veil, serene and serene, gentle and generous. Her silver face, shining through the willow branches, left a gentle smile. Under the moon, Dongfang Yu and Yueguan lay dormant quietly for an hour, their faces darkening as they almost merged into the darkness of the night. Nima, I really don't deserve it, do I? Dongfang Yu was almost cursing in his heart. Even if you don't give the golden finger the chance to cross over, how could you not even find a soul ring? Moreover, there is a beautiful teacher waiting for me in the martial soul hall who is pure, kind, and amiable. This set of tricks. Dongfang Yu really suspects that this thief is trying to kill himself. Shoo. Yu Guan held down Dongfang Yu, who was about to explode. Dongfang Yu quickly calmed down and looked towards the rattlesnake, where he had set up a trap of heaven and earth around the area. As long as that stinky goose dares to come, it will never run away. Goose, goose, goose. A cry came from the sky. Upon hearing this cry, Dongfang Yu, who had finally calmed down, almost couldn't help but stand up and sing a song to the sky. What kind of broken place are these? Broken place, broken place. Nima, the geese in this world actually call it that way. Can it be any more bizarre? Here we go, said Yu Guan with a solemn expression. Seeing that Yueguan was not affected by the sound of the geese, Dongfang Yu couldn't help but mutter to himself, the title Douluo is terrifying, and his composure is also so terrifying. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. The Holy Sword. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. The Holy Sword. Finally, under the waiting of the two, the colorful swan arrived. The whole body is filled with a holy and dustless aura, with 4 golden stripes below the mouth. Its body size is more than 3 times that of an ordinary goose that Dongfang Yu has seen, making it a fierce character at first glance. Is this really a century-old soul beast? Dongfang Yu couldn't help but suspect. This appearance doesn't look like it. Nonsense, won't you look at its chin later? Yu Guan lowered her voice and shouted, afraid of startling it away. Dongfang Yu glanced at it and muttered, then it's not colorful either. Yueguan has a black line, where did this kid talk so much? If it weren't for the fear of the colorful swan running away, I would have kicked him even if I said something. Finally, tempted by the rattlesnake, the colorful swan raised its neck and looked below to see if there were any ambushes around. Immediately, he charged straight towards the rattlesnake. Just as it was about to bite, suddenly a big net fell from the sky. Goose, goose, goose. My head, Nima's head, geese, geese. Dongfang Yu walked out of the grass with a black face, and Yueguan followed closely behind. Yu Guan gave Dongfang Yu a white glance and said, "You're really crude. Where did you learn that dirty language?" Dongfang Yu approached the colorful swan and immediately kicked it over. Shout, you shout. Seeing Dongfang Yu abusing the rainbow swan there, Yu Guan helplessly stopped and said, "Xiao Yu, wait." Walking beside Dongfang Yu, Yu Guan glanced at the colorful swan and said, "The 4 patterns happen to be 400 years of cultivation. So, it suits me exactly." Dongfang Yuan smiled. "Yes, don't waste your time. I'll protect you. You can hurry up for me. I still need to go back and take a beauty nap," Yu Guan said with a charming expression. Dongfang Yu's stomach was churning in an instant, but he didn't say much. He just pulled out the dagger, and as it was about to fall, he wondered, why doesn't it resist? Its attack method is wings, don't you think? Yu Guan said in a gloomy tone, with a green light in his eyes. Dongfang Yu smiled faintly and said, "I see." Finally, taking a glance at the colorful swan, Dongfang Yu closed her eyes and said, "See you la la." Wow! The rainbow swan went to heaven. Seeing a pale yellow soul ring floating out of it, Dongfang Yu seemed to have seen the new world and said, "Is this my first soul ring?" Suddenly, Dongfang Yu felt a fierce killing intent behind him. Immediately, sit cross-legged, close your eyes, and start absorbing soul rings. Seeing Dongfang Yu complete the entire process in one go, Yu Guan took back the dagger in his hand and focused on protecting the Dharma for him. 2 hours later, Dongfang Yu opened his eyes and said, "Comfortable." Yu Guan looked at him and asked, "All right. All right. Is that all right?" "Yeah." Seeing Dongfang Yu's calm face, Yu Guan also breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that he was really okay. "What is your first soul skill?" Dongfang Yu smiled mysteriously and said, "Why don't Uncle Yu come and test it?" Yu Guan was curious and said, "Sure, come on." After Dongfang Yu's martial soul was possessed, he set up his formation, but when he saw the moon pass yawning uncontrollably, he immediately cast a black line and said, "Uncle Moon, be serious." I know. Yu Guan waved her hand casually. "Gone, the title fight is great." Dongfang Yu said bitterly again in his heart. The first soul skill. Holy Sword. I saw the heavenly maiden beast behind Dongfang Yu, holding up her hand and condensing a lightsaber in her hand. For a moment, the light shone brightly. The surroundings illuminated. From a distance, I thought this place was building a ladder. A hint of panic flashed in Yu Guan's eyes. Dongfang Yu chuckled inwardly, realizing my prowess. We also have people who can face each other. Slash. As the words fell, the heavenly maiden beast swung its sword directly towards the moon pass. Wherever the sword light goes, there is a faint aura of purifying all things. Bang! Yu Guan casually blocked the blow, and soon, without waiting for Dongfang Yu to speak, his figure flashed and appeared in front of him. "Uncle Yu, you. Hello. What are you doing?" Yu Guan flew directly with Dongfang Yu into the air, and the speed was very fast. "Quiet for a moment," Yu Guan said with a focused expression. Half an hour later, the two appeared in an unknown small town. Dongfang Yu finally calmed his mind. On his first flight, he almost scared himself out of a heart attack. "Uncle Yu. Xiao Yu, did you know it was very dangerous just now?" Yu Guan interrupted with a serious expression on his face. "Ha!" Dongfang Yu couldn't understand. "What kind of soul skill are you? How could you have such a strong radiance?" "The area is too large. If it weren't for me pulling you away, you might have been surrounded by soul beasts by now." Yu Guan cursed. Dongfang Yu broke out in a cold sweat after listening, almost forgetting that in the forest at night, besides fire, there is also light, both of which attract a large number of soul beasts. "I'm sorry, Uncle Yu. Although the two of them have a good relationship and enjoy making trouble, this is a matter of vital importance to their lives. If they are wrong, they should apologize." Yu Guan's expression softened for a moment and said, "Forget it, next time you can't be so careless." "It's true. If you had said that soul skills are like this earlier, should have tried again tomorrow." Dongfang Yu nodded and said, "I don't want to give you a surprise, but Uncle Yu, you seemed very flustered just now." Yu Guan didn't hide it and nodded, saying, "It's not just about being labeled Douluo that we can walk horizontally. There are also things we fear in this world. There have never been invincible people, only stronger ones. If you don't think so, it's because you haven't met them yet." Dongfang Yu finished listening and asked, "Is there something that Uncle Yu is afraid of in this starry forest? Why are you asking so many questions? What can you do if you know? Let's go find a hotel and return to the Martial Soul Hall tomorrow." Walking behind the moon pass, Dongfang Yu guessed inwardly, "Are you referring to the sky blue bull python? Or the titan ape? The other moon masters probably don't know. These two soul beasts are currently unable to move themselves, nor can they move them. They can only wait for the opportunity, and at least they need Bibidong's help to hunt them." A night without words, dawn in an instant. The two of them sat on the carriage back to the Martial Soul Hall, staring wide-eyed. "Uncle Yu, what do you think of my first soul skill? Isly powerful. Although he was easily defeated by the moon pass, Dongfang Yu did not lose confidence. After pondering for a while, Yueguan recalled the move from last night and spoke slowly, it's called the Holy Sword, right? It's very powerful, and the light inside seems to have other uses. Is it a purifying effect? Uncle Yu. Dongfang Yu smiled and asked. Right, that's the purification effect. This sword is simply the nemesis of evil. Yuguan also smiled. Dongfang Yu was very satisfied with the evaluation of the moon pass, and of course, he knew the usefulness of his soul skills. But it's different from what others say, it's a bit intimidating. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Gentleness like water, Bibidong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Gentleness like water, Bibidong, but perhaps Bibidong won't be satisfied. Her martial soul is an evil martial soul, and it's strange to be satisfied with her soul skills. It was already afternoon when they returned to the martial soul hall. As soon as they returned, someone came to convey a message that the Pope wanted to see Dongfang Yu. Go ahead, be careful not to be impolite. Yuguan waved his hand and then went to rest on his own. Dongfang Yu could only grit his head and set off towards the papal palace, with a strong determination to never return a single entry. As soon as he entered the Pope's palace, Dongfang Yu felt the air around him calm down, and the entire hall was empty, only hearing the sound of his own footsteps step by step. When he arrived at the bottom of the papal podium, Dongfang Yu dared not raise his head, but bowed calmly and said, Teacher. Bibidong responded casually on stage, looking at Dongfang Yu with a slight interest. He was young and had a good personality. He was the only one of his peers who could withstand the pressure of his own momentum and remain neither humble nor arrogant. Tell me what you've gained. Yes, teacher, disciple, and Uncle Yu. After a moment, Dongfang Yu honestly explained this trip without concealing anything. Bibidong on stage stared at him with phoenix-like eyes, as if trying to see through him. After listening to Dongfang Yu's report, Bibidong fell into contemplation. Dongfang Yu, who was under the stage, didn't dare to ask if Bibidong had spoken up, unless he thought his life was too long. He said that Bibidong's aura was indeed quite strong. It seems that one soul ring is not enough. Bibidong's voice came from the station, seeming somewhat disappointed. Dongfang Yu. The disciple is here. Setting off tomorrow to hunt for the second soul ring. Ah. Dongfang Yu was taken aback. Did he treat himself like a cow? Can't even take a breath. At least let yourself rest for 2 days. Hey. Do you have any objections? Bibidong asked lightly. No, I'll go tomorrow. Well, now, come with me. After speaking, Bibidong walked down from the stage and approached Dongfang Yu step by step. As Bibidong got closer and closer to him, Dongfang Yu's forehead gradually broke into a cold sweat. At the same time, he was also asking himself, did he eat the bare heart leopard gallbladder and actually want to soak her? The step-by-step sound of da-da-da is like a series of alarm bells ringing in one's heart. After Bibidong and Dongfang Yu were separated by some distance, Dongfang Yu lowered his head and followed up. Well, it's very fragrant. Wherever she walked, the air was filled with a faint fragrance, which fascinated Dongfang Yu and made her eyes momentarily blurred. Under the leadership of Bibidong, Dongfang Yu arrived at a place that looked like a training ground, with some students around looking at him. Hey, have you heard that? He is the newly recruited disciple under the Pope's crown. Wipe, is that all? Can't he? I think he's not as good as me. Upon hearing the voices of various discussions, Bibidong turned a blind eye, but Dongfang Yu behind him was not convinced. What's wrong? As a time-traveling army, I don't have any bullshit cheats and only have the identity of a disciple of the Pope. Is there a problem? Next, it's my test for you. A voice came from Bibidong ahead. I'll obey, disciple. Dongfang Yu didn't dare to ask what the test was. Anyway, no matter what it was, he had to obey her. It's better to agree directly. Quickly, Bibidong sat on the main seat next to him, his eyes lightly scanning Dongfang Yu, and he ordered, stand on stage. Yes, Dongfang Yu quickly walked onto the stage. Bibidong scanned the group of students and then pointed to Dongfang Yu, saying, whoever defeats him will be rewarded with 1,000 gold soul coins. I'll. Sleeping trough, brother, take a step to speak. Du Tmo, get out of here. Seeing everyone under the stage staring at him with a look of beauty, Dongfang Yu couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. This Bibidong, are you trying to kill me? If you have the ability, you can do it yourself. What fear do I have? Teacher, what reward do I get if I win? Dongfang Yuxian smiled and asked as he looked at Bibidong. Of course there is, but if you lose, the end result will be death. Bibidong's voice was not too cold, but rather very gentle, only the words he said came with a cooling function. Dongfang Yu tugged at the corner of his mouth and said, I will never let the teacher down. After saying that, he turned around and mustered up 12 points of energy. Dongfang Yu has no doubt that Bibidong is lying. This can be considered a battle of life and death, not being nervous is not enough. Quickly, the first person stepped onto the stage, who was also a refined person. First, he clenched his fists at Dongfang Yu and introduced him with a smile. Wang Yi, am 11 years old, a 13th level war soul master, with a martial soul. Kitchen knife. Dongfang Yu is also a particular person, after all, when he comes out to mess around, he always values his personal style, isn't he? Therefore, he also clenched his fists slightly and said, Dongfang Yu, 6 years old. I'm Nima. Before he could finish speaking, Dongfang Yu turned to cursing loudly, because he had just introduced himself when the other party's kitchen knife had already been cut. Shameless disciple. Dongfang Yu summoned his martial soul possession and directly released his first soul skill. For a moment, under the gaze of everyone, he turned into a light. Under a lightsaber, Wang Yi flew backwards from the stage, spat out a mouthful of blood, and fainted. At the moment when Dongfang Yu released his soul skill, Bibidong on stage felt a hint of disgust in his eyes, which he didn't like very much. But now Bibidong didn't say anything, just watched quietly. Gone. Who's next? Dongfang Yu shouted with a black face, really not getting angry, thinking he was a soft persimmon. I'll come. A boy aged 11 or 12 walked up again, looking much stronger than Wang Yi. I'm Li Fei, 12 years old. Lying down. Before Li Fei could finish introducing me, I just swung a lightsaber at him. Suddenly, Li Fei flew backwards and before fainting, he shouted, You're not particular, you're planning a surprise attack. After finishing, he fainted directly. Dongfang Yu smiled bitterly, and roast, I'm not tired of deceit. I just learned this. Next. Bibidong finds it more and more interesting as he looks at it. As a cheap disciple, he is quite interesting. A pair of phoenix eyes lit up for a moment, and a subtle curve slowly curved at the corner of the mouth. With a charming smile, it looked really beautiful. Before he could finish speaking, he grabbed his sword and slashed towards Dongfang Yu. Dongfang Yu sneered and said, what if you learn to be smart? Do you know how to break 10,000 laws with one force? After speaking, another lightsaber struck. Gradually, half an hour passed. At this moment, there are only 2 people left on stage, Dongfang Yu and a person named Li Hao. Dongfang Yu's eyes narrowed slightly. This person was stronger than everyone in front of him, and no one in front of him approached him before he was knocked out. But Dongfang Yu's intuition told him that this person, he can. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Entering the Starry Forest again. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 7. Entering the starry forest again, the two of them exchanged a glance, and Li Hao smiled and clenched his fists, saying, Li Hao, 11 years old, level 21 second ring war soul master, martial soul. Shadow Wolf. Please advise. Dongfang Yu did not launch a surprise attack, but felt a bit stressed. Although he had level 20 soul power, he only had one soul ring. Dongfang Yu, a level 21st ring battle soul master and a martial soul. The Holy Heavenly Maiden. Dongfang Yu also introduced himself with a fist in his hand. Li Hao exclaimed in surprise, level 20. Haven't you hunted the second soul ring yet? So what? Just come on, Dongfang Yu said with a focused expression. Immediately, both of them summoned their martial souls, set up their formations, and seemed to engage in a fierce battle. The first soul skill. Wolf Claw. Li Hao directly possessed his martial soul and launched an attack. Dongfang Yu didn't dare to be careless when he saw the other party rushing towards him, and the heavenly beast behind him also raised his lightsaber directly. The Holy Sword. Bang! The two attacked and collided, creating subtle fluctuations. In no time, the two of them fought together, and Li Hao's fingers grew sharp claws, gradually leaving a lot of blood on Dongfang Yu's body. Dongfang Yu held a lightsaber and also left many scars on the opponent. Although Li Hao has one more soul skill than him, his martial soul has been suppressed a lot, making it difficult to distinguish between high and low for a while. Bang! Another blow, separate the two. Dongfang Yu wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and stared at Li Hao intently. His only advantage was his martial soul, and apart from that, he was not as good as the other party. Taking another glance at Bibidong, she saw that there were no ripples in the other person's eyes. Dongfang Yu finally understood that she really didn't care about herself, and even if she died, she would die in vain. Damn it, don't believe me anymore. I'll go all out. Dongfang Yu made a decision in his heart and immediately welcomed him back. At this moment, there was finally a slight change in Bibidong's eyes in the distance. It seems that my cheap disciple is really working hard, just hoping that he doesn't really die. Crazy. Li Hao on stage angrily cursed, because Dongfang Yu was completely risking his life with him at no cost. His attack was completely using his body to resist, just to leave scars on himself as well. Are you really not afraid of death? Li Hao shouted angrily as they staggered some distance. Dongfang Yu spat out a mouthful of blood phlegm without answering, but he was furious in his heart. Of course I'm afraid to die. But if I don't fight hard, I'm really going to die. Stop talking nonsense, come on. The two fought together again. Next, the battle between the two entered a white heat, with one sword from you and one claw from me. After separating the distance again, both of them were panting heavily. Li Hao waved his hand and said, You won, I'll give up. You're really crazy. Dongfang Yu also understood that he gave up. After all, he only won 1,000 gold soul coins, so there's no need to really risk his life. But he is different. If he loses, he will die. He can give up, but he cannot. I'm willing to accept it. Dongfang Yu had already become a bloody person, and his clothes were all in tattered condition, without a good spot. As the words fell, Bibidong's figure suddenly appeared in Taichung, as fast as a shadow, silently. Both of them were startled. Before they could panic, Bibidong looked at Li Hao and said calmly, Do you know where you lost? Li Hao struggled to answer, I don't know. Compared to Dongfang Yu, your strength is only strong and not weak. Although your martial soul has been suppressed, it is difficult for him to defeat you. You are afraid of death if you lose. If you are like him and rely on fate, the outcome is still unknown. After Bibidong finished speaking, he left directly with Dongfang Yu. Li Hao behind him watched as the two of them left, his eyes lost in thought. Dongfang Yu returned to his residence, took a shower, drugged himself, and then lay down on the bed. Looking at the scars all over her body, she couldn't help but grin and say, "You're really the most poisonous woman to the heart. Make yourself half dead and never say a word when you come back, and never send a healing soul master or anything to take a look. Even if you are a superficial teacher, you still have to pretend, right? As for rewards, I never dared to ask myself." Dongfang Yu was crazy and roast that he had written down this account. He even suspected that his decision to stay in the Wulin Hall was wrong. However, how difficult is it to leave the martial soul hall? I am not someone who gives up halfway after encountering a little setback. Since I have made a decision, I must do my best. Oh, of course. This is definitely not because of the desire to compare the beauty of Bibidong. I endure humiliation and bear the heavy burden, all for the sake of the people of the world. The next day, it was still a familiar scene and a familiar tool person. On the carriage, Dongfang Yu asked, "Uncle Yu, what soul beasts are you hunting again this time?" Yu Guan glanced at Dongfang Yu and said with some concern in her eyes, "Are your injuries okay?" "Don't worry, it's okay." "Well, that's good, fortunately I didn't get seriously injured," Yu Guan said again. "Our goal this time is a snow-feathered crane that is about 700 years old. This soul beast is different from the rainbow swan. Although it is not as noble as the rainbow swan's bloodline, its attack power is not weaker than the rainbow swan at all, and it is even better than it. Moreover, the snow feather crane belongs to the sacred and sacred category of soul beasts, which is perfect for you." After listening to Yu Guan's explanation, Dongfang Yu nodded and said, "Could you please trouble Uncle Yu again?" "It's okay." Yu Guan's attitude was not impatient. If it were someone else, there might really be objections. After all, there is no Douluo who helps hunt century-old soul beasts all day long. This is why I have been in a relationship with Dongfang Yu for 6 years and are familiar with each other, which is why I have done my best. Soon, the two of them arrived near the Starry forest. The two of them got off the carriage and entered the forest again. Unlike last time, Dongfang Yu felt even more uneasy this time. After all, he knew exactly what was in the forest. Yueguan walked ahead without looking back and said, "Follow me closely. It's daylight now, and it's on the outskirts of the forest. There's no need to be nervous." Without the need for Moon Gate reminders, Dongfang Yu really wants to stick to Moon Gate. People always feel afraid of things they haven't seen or know before. Although they know that kind of existence, they haven't seen it before. Saying they're not afraid is fake. Alright, it's around here. After walking for a moment, Yueguan stopped in his tracks. Dongfang Yu observed the surroundings and found that it wasn't as terrifying as last time, but it wasn't much better either. The snow feather crane is not considered rare. Apart from the heavenly Do royal family, there are not many people who need this type of soul beast to make a soul ring. "Let's hurry up this time," said Yu Guan as he began to observe. "Okay," Dongfang Yu replied and started searching with Yu Guan. The Emperor never fails. No, the two of them surprisingly went smoothly this time. In no time, they found a few snow-feathered cranes, who were drinking water by the river at the moment. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Like the past at first sight, snow clears the river. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Like the past at first sight, snow clears the river. "Uncle Yu, come on," urged Dongfang Yu. Yu Guan squinted her eyes and said, "What do you know? I'm looking for an opportunity to strike successfully." Dongfang Yu's face turned a bit dark upon hearing this. "Is it necessary for you to deal with a century-old soul beast with the title Douluo?" "Hey!" Before Dongfang Yu could speak again, Yu Guan had already rushed out. Dongfang Yu turned his head and stared intently, wanting to see how he had achieved remarkable success. I saw Yu Guan quickly rush into the group of snow-feathered cranes and raise his hand to pat one of them. Gah! The group of snow-feathered cranes suddenly dispersed, running their separate ways, and the moon past did not pay attention. As long as they caught what they wanted, there was no need to indiscriminately kill innocent people. Amazing Uncle Yu. Dongfang Yu flattered and walked out of the grass, his mouth almost grinning to the ear. Yu Guan threw the snow feather crane at Dongfang Yu's feet, patted the non-existent dust on his shoulder, and said, "What do you mean? This is a 690-year-old snow feather crane, which is quite suitable for you." Dongfang Yu nodded and was ready to take action, but it was just then. "Wait a minute." A male voice came from not far away. Immediately, a few people slowly appeared. The leader of the team, about 17.18 years old, was very handsome and dressed very meticulously. He was dressed in a luxurious light white brocade with golden edges, exuding a gentle and elegant aura in every move and gesture, as if his status was quite prestigious. Next to him was a boy of about 10 years old, with brown-red hair and a decent appearance. However, wearing a red brocade robe that didn't fit him well, he looked a bit mischievous. As everyone approached, the leading man smiled first, making one feel like basking in spring breeze, and said, "Hello." Yu Guan frowned and said, "Your Highness, I don't know what's going on." Upon hearing Yu Guan's words, Dongfang Yu also confirmed his conjecture in his heart. It turned out that this was Xueqing River. The crown prince of the heavenly Dou Empire, to be precise, should be Qianren Xue, so the one beside him should be the fourth prince's avalanche. Xueqing smiled politely and said, "Elder Ju, this is my fourth brother, Avalanche. I also brought him to hunt for the soul ring. Our group has been searching in the forest for 3 days and finally found this suitable snow feather crane. Do you think? Could it be convenient? Don't worry, I will send someone to find another suitable soul beast for you. And my humble gift." Yu Guan had a cold face and didn't intend to give him face. Not to mention the hostile relationship between the Martial Soul Hall and the heavenly Dou Empire, but to say that the snow feather crane was caught by him first, why give it to him? Dongfang Yu smiled and said, "Are you ready to cut off the snow?" "Your Highness, I'm afraid we can't handle this convenience," Dongfang Yu answered. Xueqing looked at Dongfang Yu. It seemed that the decision-making power was in his hands. Immediately asked, "This little brother?" "My name is Dongfang Yu, and the contemporary pope of the Martial Soul Hall is my teacher." Dongfang Yu calmly introduced himself. Avalanche and Xueqing were slightly stunned, while the latter's eyes clearly flashed with a hint of abnormality. However, they were both old actors, and naturally there would be no abnormal behavior. Xueqing still smiled and said, "I'm so disrespectful. I can't believe that the young brothers from the East have become disciples of the Pope at such a young age. Their future is limitless." Dongfang Yu smiled shyly and said humbly, "I dare not, Your Highness the Crown Prince is the true dragon and phoenix among the people, the pillar of the country." After speaking, the two of them looked at each other with a deep smile. Upon hearing each other's words, if no one else started blowing at each other, everyone around would twitch their lips. These two people. Those who didn't know thought they were good friends. Although Dongfang brothers is young, I feel like I'm old to you at first sight. Brother Xue is a talented and exemplary figure in our generation. Everyone's faces turned black. Are these two really so familiar? Is it really that funny? It felt like time was almost over, and Xueqing and Dongfang Yu came to a very tacit stop in the blowing mode. The former asked, "Can Dongfang sell me face and give the soul beast to my fourth brother? I believe I can't treat you unfairly, okay?" Although Dongfang Yu was very young, his tone was mature and he said, "Oh my, Brother Xue, you're making it difficult for me. If I had to sell Brother Xue's face normally, but this is the soul beast designated by the teacher, I can't let it go." Xueqing twitched at the corner of his mouth and cursed inwardly at the little fox. Although the snow feather crane is not rare, it takes some time to find a suitable year. He has been searching for it for 3 days, how can he still spend time here? If it weren't for showing a good brotherly relationship in front of a snowy night, I wouldn't have come in person. Although he was cursing in his heart, Xue Qinghe still maintained a gentle attitude on the surface and said, "What does that mean, little brother Dongfang?" Dongfang Yu hesitated and said, "It's really difficult for me to explain to the teacher. How about this drop? I'll have a competition with Prince Avalanche. If I lose, it's just that my skills are not up to par, and I have an explanation to the teacher." Xue Qinghe smiled and said, "Thank you very much for giving me this face. If you have any problems in the future, you can also come to me for convenience. Fourth brother, do you have any objections?" The avalanche on the side nodded and said, "Sure, I'm fine." On the other side, Yu Guan looked at Xue Qinghe and others, then pulled Dongfang Yu aside and said somewhat reproachfully, "What are you doing? How much is his face worth? Is it unnecessary?" Dongfang Yu said to himself, "The face of Xueqing River is not valuable, but the face of Qianren Snow is valuable. Uncle Yu, don't worry, I have my own plans." "You. It's okay, it's not my fault to lose anyway." Yu Guan gave him a blank glance and said no more. Soon, Dongfang Yu and Avalanche stood opposite each other, ready to take action. Dongfang Yu, Level 21 Ring War Soul Master, Martial Soul Holy Heavenly Maiden, 4th Prince, please advise. Dongfang Yu smiled faintly and did not reveal his age, as his appearance only looked 1 or 2 years younger than him. Avalanche summoned the Martial Soul and said, "Avalanche, Level 21st Ring Battle Soul Master, Martial Soul. Swan, please advise." In his heart, Dongfang Yu could not help roast. Another stinky swan. After the introduction, Dongfang Yu summoned his martial soul possession, and the heavenly maiden beast quietly appeared behind him. Suddenly, except for the moon pass, everyone in the room widened their eyes, almost wishing to burst their eyeballs. The most awkward thing is Xue Qinghe, with an incredulous expression on his face. Is this a mutated six-winged angel? Or is it another martial soul from the angel lineage? Why have I never heard of it? Xue Qinghe kept speculating in his heart, more shocked. Seeing the angel's martial soul behind Dongfang Yu, its aura was hidden above his six-winged angel, making it difficult to accept. In this world, there is actually a martial soul stronger than the six-winged angel based on its aura. And they also belong to the same lineage. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Holy Realm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Holy Realm. Dongfang Yu enjoys this kind of scene very much. You don't even need to look at it with your eyes to know how envious they are. Who would say that our heavenly maiden beast has high appearance and temperament? Speaking of which, I still need to appreciate it well in the future. I secretly glanced at Xueqing River again, and saw that the other person's eyes were indeed a bit dull and shocked. This was also expected, just to make him interested in me. The first soul skill. Holy Sword. The heavenly beast had already raised its lightsaber high, and the avalanche had just regained consciousness and wiped its saliva. Humph. Avalanche let out a cold snort and released his soul skill to welcome him. The result is obvious: how can a mere goose be a match for a celestial beast? Being knocked down to the ground, the avalanche was also refreshing, and he said, "I lost." Dongfang Yu gave a faint smile and said, "I'll accept it." At this moment, Xue Qinghe walked forward and gave Dongfang Yu a slightly meaningful glance, saying, "Dongfang brothers are worthy of the name of the Pope's disciple. Qinghe has learned." Seeing that Xue Qinghe's gaze was not friendly, Dongfang Yu was not disappointed, as expected. "Now, I can only reluctantly accept the favor of Snow Feather Crane and His Highness the Crown Prince. My words are still valid. If you need any help, just come to me." Xue Qinghe handed Dongfang Yu a token and said calmly. "After all, it's not anyone's fault." Dongfang Yu really gave himself face, and he can only blame the avalanche for being too weak, losing his wife and losing his troops. However, Suiking is now full of interest in Dongfangyu, especially in his martial soul. Dongfangyu grinned and said, definitely, definitely. Since that's the case, goodbye. Xueqinghe said hello and left with the gloomy Avalanche and others, without much communication. Only the two of them at Moon Pass were left, and Dongfangyu was ready to absorb the soul ring. Wow! White knife in, red knife out. The snow feather crane has lost its breath. Immediately, under the protection of the Moon Pass, Dongfangyu began to absorb this soul ring. Half an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, gradually, a long time passed, but Dongfangyu still hadn't completed the absorption. His forehead was covered in sweat beads, and his eyebrows were furrowed together. I dare not slack off throughout the entire Moon Pass, as accidents may occur if I am not careful. Moreover, it is almost dark now, and the Tiando forest is not considered safe. Ha! Dongfangyu let out a heavy mouthful of turbid air, his eyebrows also relaxed, and slowly opened his eyes. Xiaoyu, how are you? Yu Guan hurriedly asked. Dongfangyu chuckled and said, of course it was successful, and... Stop, as long as we succeed, let's leave the Starry Forest first. Yu Guan interrupted and immediately left the forest with Dongfangyu. Along the way, Dongfangyu wanted to say but didn't dare to say it. You're just a title Douluo, but are you so afraid? Even if you have been unlucky for 8 lifetimes and have really encountered the Titan Ape, you wouldn't have no backhand ability. But after thinking about it for a while, I was relieved. Yu Guan didn't have much courage in the original work, and hearing Tang Ritian's name would make him tremble with fear as it was already late. The two of them could only casually find a hotel to rest for another night. Alright, let's talk about it tomorrow if there's anything else. Don't disturb my beauty sleep. Yu Guan said angrily, then took a shower and fell asleep. Dongfangyu tugged at the corner of his mouth and said, oh, you don't want to listen. I don't want to say anything now. The next day, there was a familiar recipe again. On the carriage, Yu Guan asked, tell me, what soul skill is it? Dongfangyu pursed his lips and said leisurely, my second soul skill is called Holy Light Spike, which can simultaneously gather several light blades to launch attacks. Its power is more than twice that of the first soul skill. So much more powerful. Yu Guan felt surprised. Dongfangyu, the old god, shook his head and said calmly, it's okay, it's just casual, we can get by. Seeing Dongfangyu with a stinky expression on his face, he didn't want to ask anything about the current Moon Pass anymore. It had to be the Pope's Crown Prince personally asking him. A few hours later, Martial Soul City. Dongfangyu's residence. The Pope's Crown orders that when you come back, you should go directly to see her, said the attendant respectfully. Dongfangyu nodded slightly and smiled, I understand. Subsequently, Dongfangyu changed into a new outfit and went straight to the Papal Palace. The Papal Palace is still cold, and the sound of needles falling can be heard. Dongfangyu dared not venture out, and the joy of obtaining the second soul ring was washed away completely. Tell me, what have you gained? Bibidong on stage asked. Dongfangyu immediately told Bibidong about the process of obtaining the soul ring and meeting Xueqinghe and others. Anyway, he wouldn't say it himself, and Moon Pass would also say it. After listening, Bibidong remained silent for a long time, as if there was no one on the papal throne, but Dongfangyu understood that this was really a fake. Well, you shouldn't touch Xueqinghe at the moment, Bibidong said lightly after a long time, his voice devoid of any emotion. I obey your orders, Dongfangyu said respectfully. Good disciple, do you still have something to tell the teacher? Bibidong's eyes suddenly became a bit playful, and his voice became gentle. The sound of good disciple almost startled Dongfangyu and caused him to pass away on the spot. His attitude changed no matter what. Now that he suddenly became so gentle, he felt even more dangerous. There's one thing, and it seems that the disciple has awakened a realm Dongfang Yu could only reply with his head lowered. Show it to the teacher. Bibidong smiled beautifully, as if everything was under control. Okay, teacher. After speaking, Dongfang Yu directly opened up the field. I saw a halo centered around him, spreading 10 meters around and enveloping the entire person. Suddenly, the once lifeless papal hall was filled with a strange and holy aura, as well as a lot of light. Bibidong stared intently at this field, then blushed and murmured, God Holy Leader Domain. You are really a good disciple of the teacher, let's accept it. Upon hearing this, Dongfang Yu quickly put aside his field and said, Teacher, how? How is it? Great, let me introduce what it does. Bibidong regained his high coldness and asked lightly. Teacher Hui, in my disciple's sacred realm, any enemy within the range will have their soul power suppressed. The stronger the disciple's strength, the larger the range and the more suppression they will have. The upper limit is 50% and the lower limit is 5%. In addition, the disciple's realm has a stronger suppression effect on the evil soul master. The evil martial soul, up to 70%. After speaking, Dongfang Yu's back had already been soaked with sweat, afraid that Bibidong would attack him in the next second. After listening, Bibidong had no abnormalities in his eyes, and he had a general understanding of this field, so there was no need to make a big fuss. Starting from taking Dongfang Yu as his disciple, everything he did was under his own control, such as in this field. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. The Purpose of Bibidong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. The purpose of Bibidong asking him to hunt 2 soul rings separately is to confirm his own idea. The 6 winged angels can still awaken their exclusive realm, and there is no reason why they cannot awaken the divine heavenly maiden, who is more powerful than them. I just thought that 1 soul ring could awaken the realm, but I needed 2. That's why Bibidong was a bit disappointed last time. But now I have figured it out, because his field is very strong. That's why he needs 2 soul rings to awaken. Awakening the divine goddess in the realm is truly enough to compete with the 6 winged angels. Dongfang Yu, you don't need to go to the college again tomorrow. You can read some basic knowledge by yourself, Bibi pondered for a while and said. Dongfang Yu felt helpless in his heart, but he didn't dare to oppose it. Don't you know, teacher, that reading makes people grow? I am studying for the rise of the martial soul palace. Hey. I'll listen to the teacher. No matter how unwilling I feel in my heart, I still have to agree verbally. Tomorrow I will arrange training for you, and by the way, I'll give you the reward from last time. Speaking of the last sentence, Bibidong smiled sincerely in his tone. If you don't understand her, it's okay, but she really has some kind of reward to blame. Dongfang Yu knows very well that she must be trying to mess with herself again. In the meantime, my heart roast, teacher, are you really good? I'm still a 6-year-old boy, and I'm not too bad. Yes, teacher, Dongfang Yu said respectfully, his expression unchanged. Well, let's go down and rest. Returning to her residence, Dongfang Yu felt even more uneasy and speculated several times about how Bibidong would mess with her tomorrow. Thinking of the end, I didn't come up with a reason. Summoning up his martial soul, Dongfang Yu stared blankly at the heavenly maiden beast, still as stunning as his first glance. Looking at it, Dongfang Yu's face collapsed again. The first time I felt that awakening this martial soul was a mistake. Although it is beautiful and eye-catching, as well as powerful, it also brings crisis to oneself. Bibidong's coveting. Tyrant beast, if only you were alive, I would have someone to talk to privately. Dongfang Yu sighed slightly and said to himself. I am simply too aggrieved. No one understands my difficulties, and one day I may not be able to make use of my value. Bibidong will easily kill me. All I can do is to become stronger quickly, even though I cannot escape Bibidong's control temporarily. But once you become stronger, you can control your own destiny. It can be said that his own destiny is completely beyond his control now, but Dongfang Yu is not decadent, but has confidence in himself. Thinking of the end, Dongfang Yu smiled relieved and looked at the heavenly maiden beast whispering, "Let's work together. I believe you can definitely help me achieve that step." But Dongfang Yu didn't know, but as he turned around, the fingertips of the heavenly maiden beast moved slightly, and in an instant, they regained their calmness. The next day, Dongfang Yu arrived early at the papal hall, and at this moment, Bibidong was already handling political affairs. "Alright, come with me." Bibidong still walked ahead. "Yes, teacher." Dongfang Yu lowered his head and quickly followed. An hour later, the two of them left the Martial Soul Hall and arrived at a remote place with an arena in the middle, surrounded by a bloody atmosphere, but no one could be seen. Dongfang Yu looks unattainable. "What's wrong with you? You just let yourself go to such a haunted place if you have something to do." Looking around, there was still no sign of anyone. Dongfang Yu then looked at Bibidong and tentatively asked, "Teacher, where is this?" Upon hearing this, Bibidong stopped and turned around. Currently, Dongfang Yu was only about 1.2 meters tall. Bibidong looked down at him from a high position and said, "This is my second test for you. This arena is called 100 People Slaying. As the name suggests, if you want to step down from the arena, you must slay 100 people." Dongfang Yu's heart is completely cold. "Do you want to play like this? He's really only 6 years old, and you actually want me to kill him? And it's still so ruthless, we're going to kill 100 people." Seeing Dongfang Yu stunned and standing still without any further action, Bibidong said again, "They are all people of the same level as you. This is your first time here, and of course, you wouldn't really want to kill so many people. Then kill 10, Bibidong said lightly, as if life was not worth mentioning in her eyes. "This arena is the killing capital that I imitated myself, although it is not as terrifying and the difficulty is not that great. But for Dongfang Yu at this age, it is still quite challenging. Remember, if you can't do anything to others, you will definitely die. Tour, this is the reward specially given to you by the teacher. Are you satisfied?" Bibidong smiled gently. "Dongfang Yu has a black line on his face, so your reward is to reward himself for killing. It's survival in the cracks again, to put it simply, it's letting oneself risk one's life. This is about destroying one's own martial soul. Martial souls like angels represent divinity, washing away all filth and filth. Once one's hands are stained with an innocent and unjust soul, however, a martial soul is dead and a person is alive. A noble and holy martial soul does not necessarily mean that the person is also holy. In other words, as long as you don't forget your original intention, what about killing 10 more people? I want to use this to fall into darkness, to crown myself as the Pope. I have no choice now. If there is a chance in the future, I want to be a good person." "I understand," Dongfang Yu said calmly, his expression unchanged. There was a hint of surprise in Bibidong's eyes, thinking that he needed to take a break no matter what. After all, his age was set here, and he didn't expect to adapt so quickly. "This is also good. My goal is to train a killing machine that can fight against the 6-winged angels. If one day, a cold-blooded and ruthless soul master appears on the mainland, killing innocent people indiscriminately, and his martial soul is still an angel martial soul that should belong to the light. At that time, how should Qianjia handle itself? What kind of face does Qiandao Lu have to sit on the altar steadily? At that time, the scene will definitely be very interesting. The fallen angel will fight against the so-called righteous angel. That kind of scene is really desirable. Just thinking about it at this moment, Bibidong is completely immersed in her crazy plan. As long as she can retaliate against the Qianjia family and destroy the Martial Soul Hall, she can give everything, even her insignificant life. Dongfang Yu on the side couldn't help but sigh inwardly when he saw many strange things flashing in Bibidong's eyes. Now, he finally had a rough idea about her accepting him as his disciple. Her purpose is mostly closely related to what she guessed. This woman had the strength and ability to benefit the people, but she chose to fall into that boundless darkness. Of course, I cannot blame her for anything. Based on her experiences, Dongfang Yu cannot guarantee that if she were herself, she would not be even crazier. End of this chapter.